Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Juan of Words podcast. I'm Juan Alanis.
My name is Angelica Casares.
And we're glad that you're back this week to listen to a new episode. You know, we told you we were going to try to be more consistent with our content because we had kind of like fallen off the wayside for a little bit, but
we're happy to be back.
We're happy to be back.
We're happy to be back.
But yeah, it's been a kind of an eventful week for us. Like for really actually the last couple of weeks. And actually, I think the topic that I wanted to talk about today.
Has it?
Yeah. Why do you always ask? You're like, has it?
Has it? Because I never know where you're pivoting, which way direction you're going. I was like, what happened?
Well, see, nothing. Just a little thing called like a graduation.
That's right.
After 13 years of your life, taking getting up early and sending a kid to school and being like, hey, you need to be at school. You need to be at school. You need to be at school.
This kid's been doing it since the age of 3.
Yeah, and he's like...
Since the age he did Head Start.
So how many years is that? That's what?
So he is... How old is he?
He's 18.
He's 18?
All of a sudden we get in front of the mics and Angelica draws blanks on everything.
He's 18?
He's 18, Angelica. He's going to be 19 this year.
I thought he was already 19.
No, he's 18. October, remember?
I know what month he was born in. Hold on, let me ask him.
He's 18.
How do I not know this? I don't even, you know what? It doesn't even matter because I don't even know how old I am.
Yeah. So.
Sometimes I start telling people, I think last time I was trying to tell a friend that I was like, yeah, and I'm like going to be 30 because I thought I was like 29. And I was like, did I just try to lie to you and tell you I was 29?
I'm not even going to say nothing because that was an easy setup. So I'm not even going to take it. I'm not even going to take the bait.
Okay. So he graduated.
He's turning 18.
Since 15 years then.
Yeah, he turned 18. So he's for 15 years, it's been a back and forth of going to school and this and that. And so this weekend he graduated high school. So he's officially done with that. And we're officially done with high school, which is
we're all officially done with high school. Everybody at that house is done with high school.
Which is a big thing because
it's a big milestone, yeah.
I mean, not only is it a milestone, but it also changes the day-to-day of the routine because now it's you no longer when they get older,
responsible. You're no longer responsible.
Yeah, when they get older,
basically,
they're a little bit more you can kind of rely on them a little bit more that they're gonna get up, but you can't. But you still kind of have that thing that you're it's 6:30, 7 o'clock. Let me make sure that this kid's up so he can go to school.
Mm-hmm. He responded, and he asked what.
You asked him.
Yeah, he did. How old are you? He said, what? Okay, so yeah. So now
talk about a self-esteem booster.
My parents don't know how old I am. I don't know. Anyway, so you were, I'm sorry, I didn't even interrupt you.
No, I was just saying so it changes your it changes the entire what was I saying? I forgot what I said. It was it changes the routine.
Yeah.
It changes the routine of your of the flow of the day because you no longer have to. I guess as an adult or as a parent in the household, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You're okay, it's done. There's still it's so now there's still college and there's still other things that have to come down the line. Mm-hmm. But that's a little bit less. It's a little bit less stressful on you.
Well, us perhaps. Well, sort of, kind of.
I mean, in the routine, not in the in the scope of everything else.
In the day-to-day, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, in the overall sense of it, probably not. So, in the day-to-day, it is going to be easier, but in the overall of it all, it is a little taxing.
Yeah. I mean, it's still stressful. I mean, there's definitely, you graduate up yourself to another level of stress, but
there's more expectation at this level.
Yeah. And it's more kind of in high school, when you're in high school, it's it's not so much I don't want to say do or die, but it's kind of it's high school. It's not so serious, it's you might fail a class or you might fail a test or whatever. It doesn't have as much consequences as opposed to now you're talking about if you put off going to school for years and years, or you don't or not that you necessarily have to go to school because some people don't have to go to school, but if you kind of just put your life on pause for 3 to 4 years, you're by the time you turn around, you're going to be 22 years old, and you're going to be oh crap, all my friends are either graduating or they're almost getting ready to graduate, and I'm sitting here I haven't done it. I haven't done much with my life. And so it starts like, you start getting into I would say like the rat race with everybody else, where everybody's like, oh,
The
you know
rat
what?
race.
Yeah, the rat
I
race. Where
haven't
you're
heard
like,
that term in forever.
where you're like, oh, you know, in order to socialize, in order to go out and have fun, you have to have money, right? And if you don't like, if you're not working, if you don't happen to be, you know, where you have like a trust fund where you can just be like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to pull from my bank account, you know, then you start making the comparison. So, you know.
Okay, so the problem that I have with that is that it's not necessarily a problem, but you're so closely associated with what you do.
With what
like
you make, yeah.
Not what you make, what you do in life. Like you're where you wake
scenarios.
up, where you wake up every day to do something, right? I guess the purpose of life is to find the purpose for your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so
I'm reading your messages too, because
are you reading it too?
He said, I'm obviously 18, which is what I said.
I know. Okay, look, I'm just making sure. I don't know where my mind is at. I asked, how old are you? He said, 18 question mark. I said, I don't know. You tell me. He said, what? Why? OMG. Oh, obviously I'm 18. I said, okay, sorry. Just making sure.
You should have texted him, actually, I've been meaning to tell you.
You're older. No, but so going back to that, like finding your life's purpose ends up being what you actually do. So even everything is always geared around like what you do. Whether that's teaching in the sense of like actually teaching at a place, or teaching at home, or teaching in the community, or teaching somewhere, or it's working, right? Working on the field, working to whatever, like, and so
I guess the choices matter now, like more than before, because like
they've always mattered.
No, I feel like they've always mattered, but like I feel like when you're in high school, you still have a little bit more of a cushion, because you know that your parents are going to be able to fix things for you, and not that the parents go away now and they're not able to help you anymore. But once you've graduated and you're quote unquote like a functioning young adult, then you should be. Their expectation is that you should start kind of taking care of yourself a little bit more and being more responsible for yourself.
For yourself, yeah.
And so, you know, parents.
Isn't that a big expectation?
You kind of take a step back and you're like, okay, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't do that. We shouldn't continue doing so much for you, because you know
who decided that 18 was the time to be taking care of yourself?
I mean, to me, it makes sense. 18 is not a bad age. It's like, it gives you, to me, the way I think about it is like, it gives you like a little bit of a wiggle room to still make mistakes, but to like be young enough where you can kind of, where they're not as detrimental. Like if they're not that serious, like you can learn from them. Like you can make like stupid mistakes. And if you're lucky and you have parents around who are able to help, your family, whatever it is, even if it's not parents, like then you can kind of like learn from those mistakes, because those people are allowing you to kind of like keep continuing to teach you, like, oh, you know what, yeah, you messed up, but you know what, here's how to fix it, let me show you how to navigate this, or whatever.
From what we know, what our experiences are, but even our experiences aren't all that experiences. No,
I mean, you learn, like, I mean, it's like you learn however, like, you like the, what do they call it?
So what I was getting to,
hard knocks.
Yeah, what I was getting to is that I'm so afraid to continue teaching him when I'm not even aware that I've done all that great. I think I'm okay, but who gave me the qualification to keep teaching this kid? Like teaching him more of like what if I have dumbass ways? Like who gave me the qualifications to teach him my dumbass ways?
But that's why I hear people say sometimes that you do the best you can.
Yeah.
And to me, like, that makes sense. Like you can only do as much as you're able to do. So you do the best you can. Like there's nobody out there that has like the perfect solution that's like, oh, you know what, I did. Even if you think about it, even if you think that you did, like, I'm the perfect, I set them up perfectly and I'm the perfect
but the reality
parent.
is there's people out there who are better fit than you.
Yeah, but who do you think that those people that are better fit are just going to be like, oh yeah, send us your kids over here, and we're going to teach them?
Obviously not.
They have their hands full with their own stuff.
Obviously not. Like I know, I understand. I guess I'm going, okay, look, listen, forever who's listening, why do I sound so confused? It is because he graduated high school, and I'm finally at that point in my mind that at a point in my life, all I ever did and I told this story to a friend. I told her, man, I'm not losing myself. I'm really struggling with my identity at the moment, like what my purpose is. I was like, because when I was going through my episodes of of depression and anxiety, again, it's the same story, right? But when I was going through that, the only goal I ever had was like, okay, I need to get this kid graduated and I need him to start college. Mm-hmm. That was my only goal. Mm-hmm. Literally my only goal. Mm-hmm. And so when the semester started wrapping up, I remember talking to her, and there was an identity that, that my only concern and my only focus was that I needed to be around long enough. Not that I was going to do something, but I just needed to, my identity was that.
Yeah.
Getting him where he needed to be. And so like now I'm like reflecting back and thinking to myself, like, okay, now what? You know what I mean? Now what? Now who qualified me to teach him like adult things?
But that's not even thinking that like if he goes off to college or when he goes off to college, like then that's going to be even more of a like you're going to be dealing. I feel like you're going to be questioning even more yourself. Like, well,
yeah. Are you not watching me question myself now? Like, are you not listening?
But you know what? It just the target moves, and the target becomes something new. Like it's no longer just graduating from high school and going to college. Now, like what's the new target? And maybe the new target is not about. No longer about
years. That was my target.
Maybe the target now is about you or something else.
But for years,
or about me, you can make it about me too.
For years, but for years that was my target. Like that was my thing. I remember him going through middle school, and then I made it a point to be like, okay, he needs to be somewhere where he can be in a place where he's at least at some form of advantage than where we were or where he's at now. Yeah, and then all of a sudden play in everything that we did. And we, not to say that we sacrificed, but to say that we kind of put whatever his education and what he needed to get where he needed to, like at the forefront of a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would, like you said, like I don't necessarily be like, oh yeah, we sacrifice so much. No, yeah. Like, it's like, but you do make some concessions because you're like, okay, well, you do want him to have better opportunities. Mm-hmm. So,
I don't know if it was the opportunities. It was just the mindset that I needed him to be in when he got to this point.
I feel like it is like opportunities because it's like about like socializing, getting better skills, like doing things that we, like you said, that we weren't. That we weren't exposed to, that we didn't have access to, like, interacting with people that are not like you, that didn't grow up in your neighborhood, that, be like something as simple as that, mm-hmm. like can be very beneficial, like later on in your life. And sometimes you don't realize that mm-hmm. In the moment. So like, I think we're like, for my parents, like they weren't thinking about that because they were thinking about like surviving. So for them, it was like, graduate, get a diploma, you'll be, that's a big accomplishment, Yeah. And, we did that, and we like, we both been to college and this and that. And it's like, now, like we want, like, now you should strive a little bit farther,
Yeah.
This episode of the Juan of Words podcast is brought to you by our friends at Comcast Houston, who we are very proud to be working with. And they recently awarded through their Comcast Rise investment fund in the community of Houston in the entrepreneur
at the price of how much?
They invested $1 million.
They sure did. To how many? To how many?
To 100 businesses. They each received $10,000. So
there's a lot that you can do with $10,000 in your business.
Yeah, and we are grateful for Comcast for their support of our small business and for the support of other small businesses. So enjoy the podcast, and thank you to our friends at Comcast.
Enjoy the rest of the episode. I get the sense that everybody's like talks about being, when they talk about being a parent, that you want your kid to do better than you did. Right. But then like, I felt like it wasn't good enough. Like, doing better than me would be graduating on time, would be, you know what I mean? And so I was like, I got to push this further. Like and so that was my goal when he was like in 5th grade. I remember he was just having like issues. Like I went back to go look at his, like the stuff that he would bring home from school,
The notes.
and like notes and report cards. And I was reading even some of his stuff that he would write. And, he wasn't like in an advanced level. And I talk about this often, where he wasn't like an advanced level. You know what I mean? He was just a typical kid writing, like, a very average student. And he still graduated as an average student. But this kid can write. I mean, he can write. I mean, I read the stuff that he was writing like back in the day, and I read the stuff now that he writes. And I'm like, oh shit. He's writing at a level that I wasn't able to gain until like 2-3 years into 2 years into college, until I was like in literature, like, English literature in college.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like, sometimes you don't have to be like more than an average student in order to be successful. And I think maybe sometimes sometimes people, I guess we think sometimes like, oh, well, I'm not that smart, or I'm not going to get into that school. I'm not going to get into that program or this and that, because you think you're like, oh, I'm just not that student that does that well, that gets those good grades. But it just goes to show like what a little confidence can do. Like if you boost yourself where you feel confident, you're like, yeah, I'm not the student council president.
Yeah.
But I'm not stupid. Like knowing, like I think sometimes we tell ourselves like, you're stupid, like, I'm just dumb, I don't know. So
Or I don't understand it, and I'm never gonna understand it.
Yeah, I'm never gonna get it. It just
it doesn't make sense. Stop teaching me. I don't know it. Like, I'm so stupid. Yeah. We've all I've had those thoughts.
Or like, like
even recently,
like
I've had those thoughts.
And then when we say like, in I think we say it, and sometimes we don't mean it like offensive, but we do say it como, no, es que estoy bien burro, no, estoy bien burro, es que ese muchacho está bien burro, no? And like,
Ese muchacho. Okay, no, I talk about myself. Yeah.
And it's like, you don't mean it, but like those things, like they can seep in, and you're like, and then you really start to believe like, well, yeah, I'm not that smart. Like, yeah, I don't have access to that opportunity because I'm not that smart.
Yeah.
So I think even if you're not the star student, just having a little, like boosting your confidence a little bit by like showing like achieving things that you didn't think you could achieve, or like or being like, hey, you know what, I might not be the best in math, but I can write. And that's something, and like that helps you. So
So the confident booster for him was switching schools real quick in the middle of like the first semester in 6th grade. He flourished after that.
But what's funny is like, when thinking back on that, like when you were like, oh, we need to get him a private tutor, or like find somebody who's going to tutor him outside of the school. And like, to me, like I had never like, to me it was like, if you need help tutoring, like it was always like, you go and you ask your teacher, you go to the tutoring inside the schools. And so for me at the beginning, I was like, but why? Doesn't the school do that? Isn't that the school's job and this and that? But then you really see, when we were able to hire somebody like that was meeting with him like here and there every once in a while, you saw a big difference. And I was like, oh wow, like I didn't realize that, that's why those tutors are out there, because they do actually provide a lot of help.
One-on-one time with anybody like help. So if it's to learn something, or if it's to learn something, or if it's to help cultivate like a relationship, it helps. That one-on-one relationship helps.
And at the end of the day, it's an investment.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what you were like trying to get me to understand. And like per usual, like, well, I was being a little hard-headed, but like,
Per usual? Or is this an always?
But then I realized, like, you know what, it's an investment, because at the end of the day, like, it turns things around, and then, you know, it's not a constant struggle as much as it was
Yeah.
before. So it's like little things like that.
But it's like you said earlier, it's a confidence booster. It shows that not only does it matter that he understands as much as possible. He doesn't have to understand everything.
Yeah.
But as long as he understands as much as possible, and he's given the time, and he's giving the to navigate this at a better, whether that's, okay, well, I don't understand it. Okay, well, maybe you don't understand it. All we have to do is just work on testing. All we have to do is make sure when you test, you know how to test well, right? Because that's a whole other, you know, unfortunately for us here in the States, that's a whole, testing well matters, right? So we're like, okay, well, as long as you test well. And then we had to go through. So anyway, so his English, so writing his English, he did really well and he excelled. And it was not something that I was expecting. Going back and reading him some of the things, I was like, oh shit. I was like, he's come a long way.
Yeah.
And he just, like, when he once it like clicked for him, he just like took off.
Yeah, I mean, it was a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, you could see it. It was very obvious like that. It was like, oh, okay. Like, he was a different, like, kid. Like, because at that point, he wasn't worried about it anymore.
He started speaking differently too.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was like, it showed in his like mannerisms and like shoulders and the way he stood and the way he, like, you know, the way he spoke and the way he talks to our friends, you know, the way he talks to adults and the way he talks to his friends. And it's different.
Yeah.
You know, he has his confidence. He has an air about him when he gets in front of adults.
Yeah.
He's not afraid of them. He's not afraid of looking silly, sounding silly. He like, I don't know how to say that.
Yeah, I mean, he's very social. I mean, like, I think it's the soft skills, like the social and the soft skills are very, like, they're, and I think because he was able to spend the time doing that, because he wasn't as worried about his grades anymore, and he had a little bit of confidence. But, like, I mean, if I think back to me, like, I was always kind of like a nerdy kid, so I was always kind of smart. I never really struggled with my classes, but the only time that I really struggled was when I was in college, and I started taking college algebra. And then when I was struggling there, because I failed the class like 2 times, and I was like, you know, oh, this kind of sucks, like, and I started doubting myself. But then so you did well, like, in history and biology and science and all of that. And growing up in school, I was like, I was the type of kid that, like, I wouldn't, even if I didn't pay attention in class, I could just read the material and I would get it. And so, like, I never struggled in school. But in college, when I took college algebra, like the remedial, like, stuff, I was failing that. So
the remedial college algebra?
Yeah. So I was, like, failing that class, and I started, like, feeling bad. But, you know, then when I started getting it, it was like a big ego booster. Even as a young adult, that was then going to college, like, it was like, oh crap, like, oh man, like, now I get it. And, like, now, like, okay, now I can see myself finishing this damn math class and, like, going on going on to the rest of my degree.
Okay, well, I guess you're talking about college algebra because you want me to talk about it.
No, I wasn't even, like, trying to get you, but I think you should.
So for my friends and family who are listening, and to maybe viewers or listeners, so let me give you the story. Okay, when I was by the time I was in college, I was already dating Juan. And fast forward about 1.5 years, right? And I talk about my depression when it happened, right? Right about 25. I was trying to get out of school, and I was going to take my math class, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to struggle with math. I just want to take the classes that are fun and that are going to go towards my degree. And like I said, I had already taken English. I had a composition English, English literature, creative writing, English literature 1 and 2. I don't know. I had already taken these classes, and this is where I was going towards already. I was going to do, I think, communications or marketing, or one of those. And so I had already overextended my stay at community college. I had already taken all the English classes that I could possibly take, but that I needed to go towards my degree. And so I transferred into a 4-year university and accepted as a junior. Well, I was at the peak of my anxiety, and I remember walking into that class. I don't remember what class it was. I remember walking into a class, and I remember the what do you call it? It was an auditorium. It was an auditorium classroom, one of those, and I couldn't sit. And because my anxiety got the best of me. And I went to, I think, 2 classes, and that was it. Like, I had to stop. And it was immediately after everything, like, just took place when I stopped driving. I stopped doing everything all at the same time. Like, all that was, like, within a couple of months span.
Yeah.
And dropping out of college was one. Because I couldn't physically go and be there. And I didn't know if I could, I think... I wasn't worried about taking classes online. I was just worried about getting better.
Well, back then they didn't have online classes. Back then it was like
I don't know if they did. I don't remember looking into it.
It was like distance learning, because I took a few of them, and it was like they would send you VHS tapes, and you would have to watch VHS tapes, or you would have to stay up till like 1 a.m. And so the local channel, the local broadcast, like public channel, would air some of the classes.
Oh, really?
At night, like at 1 or 2 in, they would start airing at least for the University of Houston, they would air some of their classes. So if you didn't want to buy the videos, you just stayed up until at night.
So I didn't know. I didn't look into it. I dropped college completely.
Yeah.
And then I went about my merry way. And then I found like other ways to be creative and stay, focused on other things, and getting Edgar into better education and getting Edgar out of high school was my goal. So as I said, I was having like a little crisis, like at his last semester, his first semester, his last year of school. And I was like, I think I need my degree. I think I need my degree because I need to take care of myself. And everything I kept talking about these conversations with you, like if something happens to you, I don't know what's going to become of me. And you're like, why something's going to happen to me? What the hell? Like, why are you so focused on me dying? What are you talking about? And I was like, no, it's not that you're going to die. It's that
I was like, is this wishful thinking or what?
No, I was like, if something happens, this isn't going to go well.
Yeah.
Everything that you worked for and everything that I have is going to be gone. Like, I need to take care of myself. And so the best way that I could think about taking care of myself was going back to school and getting my degree. And so fast forward January, kind of woke up one day and I was like, what? I'm enrolling. And you're like, enrolling to what? I was like, enrolling back to school. And so the class that I did not take, that I needed to finish, quote unquote, my associate's degree, those 2 years, because I already taken all the English classes and I can't supplement English classes for my math class to like fulfill my math classes, was stupid college algebra. It was the prerequisite to college algebra and college algebra. You know how there's like 2 or 3 classes that you can take right into college algebra?
Yeah, I mean, I guess depending on where you test, like how many classes.
I tested low in math.
Yeah, so did I. So like it's like wherever you test, like it's how many classes you have to take the remedial classes, and that's where I was stuck too. So.
No, so I needed the prerequisite to college algebra, and I needed the college algebra, and so. Fast forward to January, and I'm trying to sign up for this stupid class. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking fail this fucking class, man. So anyways, long story short, I passed the class. So I passed the class. That's it. I'm back in school. Here's to hoping that I finish school before Edgar does.
Well, well, you will. Like, you only have like a couple years left. And I think that, it's like, you were already there. Like, so I didn't realize that you already almost had your associates. Like when you told me you were registering, I was like, oh, okay. And then you said, oh, well, I only have a couple classes to go before I get my associates. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that at all. Like, I thought you were like, I didn't know. I thought you were like maybe further off or something like that. And so I was like, oh, okay. So it's not that.
No, literally, I had 2 classes to finish to get the associates.
I was like, you finished the basics like that. I feel like that's like the most annoying part. Because then when you go to a major, like then you can kind of pick like which classes, and usually it's a topic that you're interested in, so it becomes a little bit more like I won't say easy, but it becomes a little bit more like, you want to do it.
You're encouraged to continue.
You're like, okay. Like I can do this. Like it's in my like realm of like what I enjoy.
My plan. So the reason that I didn't do college algebra was because I was like, you know what? I just want to start taking the classes that are going to go towards my degree. And then I'll take like college algebra on its own, like in the summer, or like on its own at some point by itself. Like that. I knew that I needed to focus on math by itself. I graduated. I finished that class. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know. Here's what I do know. Okay. For people out there, like if you are struggling with the subject. So you go on ratemyprofessor.com and you look at the teachers who have better ratings for students who are struggling in that topic or subject. So it can be in biology, it can be in any science course, in any math course, or even English course, right? There are some teachers who are more lenient to some students who are a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
I remember I had Miss Ariola, right, for English, and she was a bitch, man, but she really, really made me a better writer. I'm still a horrible writer, but she made me a better writer.
That was in college or in high school?
That was in college.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, I had, I had Jay as my English teacher. Yeah. And I was okay. You know what I mean? I wasn't like the best writer in class. There's no way, but I was okay. And she made me a little bit better and I was okay. I was testing at a college level, you know what I mean? In English. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't suck all that much in this, topic. Maybe I can do something. I don't know. Anyway, so you go to rate my professor and then you pick a teacher who is a little bit more soft for you when you're in that class. Yeah. And then, when you get your syllabus, you read the entire syllabus, okay? Everything. And then you work really hard on where you can probably excel. And then you give yourself some leeway. That gives you leeway in the other areas where you might suck, right? So if homework is 30%, you better fucking work it. Like the homework usually only means you turn it in. And sometimes they give it back and so anyway, in the syllabus, it said all I had to do was make a 50 in my in the final, and I was like, okay, I can do this other stuff. I can probably pass in the other exams. I can probably do okay, and I was lucky that my professor recycled a lot of his material. So I had already seen the questions, and I had already all I was really doing was memorizing the question and the answer or something similar. Like he would give a similar question and it would have a similar answer. Yeah. And so come final exam, I make a 58. Well, and I passed the class.
The thing is, it's very systematic. I think that it's very systematic. Like there's always a system to it. Like when you think of math, like when the only way that I passed math is because I would write down all the notes that my teacher would write, and I would make little notes for myself. So even if they were going fast, and this guy he just happened to have an accent, so he went a little slower. And so when he did that, I would copy every single thing he wrote on the board, and then I would write on my notes, he did this because of that on my on the thing. So that then what I would do is I would go back home, and then I would do everything all over again myself, like without him there, like just based on the notes, and that would help me to actually. But if it wouldn't have been for that, I wouldn't have never
because he was a slow talker because he had an accent.
Because the teacher I had before that, it was fast. She was fast, and I could even if I tried to write everything down, I couldn't.
You couldn't grasp it. Yeah.
So I was just I would be writing, and I was like, okay, well I can't.
There's no way.
I get home and I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell
what am I looking at? Yeah, but so he was like I said, he was even recycling the classes. He had pre-recorded the classes prior. Yeah. From last year and a couple of semesters when the pandemic first started. I would look at the dates and I was like, it says freaking 2020. We're in 2021. Yeah. Right. And I was like, he's recycling even those. And I was like, this man, he got lazy during the pandemic. And so he was recycling questions and answers to test.
But a student at your age now picks up on those things. A student at the age that you were back then, you weren't paying attention to that.
There's no way.
Yeah. You would see, 2017. What the hell? What's wrong with this teacher? And that's what I
would have complained. Yeah, I would have complained.
Instead of being oh, this is probably material that I can find from 2017. Let me go look for it.
Yeah. So what means, so of course now in the age of digital, you have these apps that help you with math, right?
Yeah.
And so if he's already recycling that stuff, these problems are already out there. Like when you use these tools.
Yeah.
And sure enough, these tools, you would scan the question, and it would bring up like the solution and problem. And so even sometimes it would be a problem, but the answer would be part of the solution, not the answer.
Yeah.
And so it would give you a rundown of how it was solved.
And let's be honest, like, I mean, how many people are out there actually using algebra on a day-to-day basis? Like, I doubt, like, that many people are actually using algebra.
There's a part of the algebra that I can see that, like, the scales, like the graphs, I could that for cells.
But then you have
sense.
YouTube and you have Google, and you can just be like last night I was last night I was looking up
systems and calculators that you can plug into. Yes.
Yeah, last night I was like looking up like how much is 20 is like 5 grams to see like on the portions.
Yeah.
So I was like, you can easily go and like find it online now.
There's these beautiful calculators, handheld calculators that you can use. You can plug it in, it'll give you a graph.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. It's not how useful is it? But then there's engineers who actually use this stuff.
Yeah.
So if like whatever, but that's not, I
guess it's good analytically. Like if you have the that you can analyze and you have the analytical capabilities that algebra makes you have, because then you have to like really think through like, if I do this and this happens, like, so like analytically it's good.
There's so much memorization that happens in math.
Yeah, but in real life,
there was no way I could like remember all the laws and all the rules and all the regulations that math has. And I was like, I don't remember. Like and you have, of course, then you had to memorize formulas. And I was like, I can fucking remember formulas. And then it just got complicated. And I was like, okay, what's the easiest way that I can pass this class? That was it.
Yeah. And in reality, like I said, when are you ever going to use that? But anyways, the good thing is that you're done with it.
I'm done with fucking math.
You're done with it. But you know what? I just remembered, like, it just made me, like, when I said that about the video classes, like, it was funny because the way we would go get the video classes is like we would have to go to the school and pick up boxes. Like,
and this was supposed to be like the online class.
This was our distance education.
Distance education.
Distance education.
Okay.
And we would go and pick up boxes, and it was like actual boxes, and they had like, anywhere from 14 to 16, 18 videos in there that were all VHS, and they were from that teacher. So you had to pay money to get the class. And then you would take it home, and you were supposed to watch the videos at home, like it was up to you whether you watched them
at your leisure. Not. Okay.
So you could either watch them all like week by week, or you could try to cram them and like watch them all at once, like binge watch them.
And what did you do?
I tried to I one semester I tried to binge watch them, and that was horrible because it was really boring. So like imagine like sitting there for like an entire weekend trying to watch these videos that were super boring. Like I couldn't stay up. And then I learned, I was like, you know what, let me just watch them little by little. And then I learned that they actually aired on TV. So I was like, well, I don't even have to buy the videos. I can just watch them on TV. I'll just stay up late. I'll just stay up late. And I'm like,
how did that work out?
That was fine. Like it worked for me.
Okay.
But like, like just think like now, like I'm just made me think like, imagine like, I'm going to say like, yeah, like our version of online education was VHS tapes in boxes that you put into VCRs, and that's how you watch.
Why are you dating me? Why are you dating my age? Shut up.
But, like, that's crazy. Like it just like it sounds crazy when you say it. Like even now, like it doesn't even sound believable. It's like really like they made you go to school and pick up boxes of videos.
You would walk out with these huge boxes of videos.
Not even DVDs. Like it was like VHS tapes. Like they should have might as well given us those things. What are they called? The ones that were before VHS, the cassette tapes, or like
which ones?
The B8. What are they? The ones that were before the cassette player that you just like you inserted. Like it was.
No,
like,
no.
Yeah, like it was. This was like way before my time too. It was like in the 70s and the 50s. Like the music, they would just like plug
the track.
Yeah, they would like plug it into something, and you were like, "What the hell is that?"
I got all the game, don't get fucked in your brain. I can do you worse than you ever did me first.
My name is Angelica Casares.
And I'm Juan Alanis.
So if you're out here and you've left us a rating, Juan, you just told me right now we had a rating, right?
Yeah, I was saying that I was saying that people have a lot of opinions about our podcast and our like.
I don't know if they have it. Like they're not talking about
us.
us. They don't have a lot of opinions, but they've left us a review.
No, I say that jokingly because
okay.
we've gotten a few comments here and there. And,
okay. So we're encouraging people to come leave us a rating and a review.
So
you're
we're
right.
like,
You're right.
one thing about us is that we are pretty thick-skinned. At least I consider myself to be pretty thick-skinned.
You are.
So
don't be mean to me.
So we take everything. We take all the feedback that you give us, and we really appreciate it because we feel like this is a learning experience for us as we're kind of learning to do this more and more. And where we started a year ago is not where we are now, but who knows where we're going to be in a year from now if we're still doing this.
Yeah.
But
we're enjoying it.
We wanted to take a moment while you're listening to this podcast to just say thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us, and to remind you to share this podcast and any other podcast that you might have enjoyed with your friends and family, and to let you know that we're on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, all that good places that you can go and listen to podcasts. But you can find all our links at juanofwords.com and on all our social media accounts.
Back up on my piece shit, I don't care if you don't like it. I'm really different, don't gotta show you I'm like that.
So yeah, so that's done and over with, and I'm happy about it. So happy about it. I think that I can now oh my God, I'm so happy about it. So anyway, so one more class in the summer.
But there you go, moving target. Now your target is new.
yeah. So now my target is finishing my higher education.
Yeah. Finishing your degree and getting it done,
Start working, start at some point moving into like the corporate maybe space, or maybe moving into some space to like I said, the only thing that I'm thinking about now is can I know I can, but successfully doing so, whatever my success is, whatever I consider successfully, it's being able to take care of myself. Mm-hmm. So that includes making money on my own at whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 So I don't
Will be exciting.
live under a bridge. That's my only goal. That's my only goal. I don't want to live
under a bridge. Like she always tells me this, like that she's gonna end up under a bridge, and I don't know what. And I'm like, Angelica, like why would you?
I don't think that I'm gonna end up a bridge because that's like
I feel like you heard that when you were growing up, and then it just stuck.
I heard it.
Like, I don't know. Like,
you think somebody told me I was going to live under a bridge?
Like, sometimes, because sometimes, like, parents will say, like, what, you don't want to be living under a bridge. You don't want to do this and that. Like.
Nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever told me that. I couldn't, I knew how to take care of myself. No, not really. No, not even from childhood. This came, like, after my depression. Like, I was like, fuck, man, I'm fucked, dude. Like, there is no way I'm going to be able to take care of myself. Like, I'm going to end up under a bridge. You ever see those sick people who, like, you're like, damn, they need help.
But the thing is, like, I guess that's true. Like, like I'm kind of making light of it, but like in reality, like there's 6 degrees of separation from that. Like, it's not that far off because when you talk, like when I used to work for the Salvation Army, like we worked with homeless people, and a lot of times when you
hear their stories,
when you talk to them, they would tell you, like, I'm a banker, I'm this, I'm that, like whatever. They have different careers. And they just happened to, like,
fall on hard
to
times.
be like a string of events that ended up leading them to not have a home.
Yeah, and it could have been like I was an alcoholic for like 6 months and I lost everything and now I'm here. Mm-hmm. Like that 6-month time span where they didn't get help or they didn't know how to ask for help, they didn't know what to do or whatever it was. It was something that just life has a very fucked up way of showing you shit. And it has a very messed up way of putting you in positions where that you can't help. Mm-hmm. And so I want to be able, when life can't help me, I want to be able to help myself.
Yeah.
And so that's that is my goal.
Yeah.
I never want to be dependent on you. And I surely don't want to be dependent on Edgar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want him to feel like, I need to take care of my mom. Like, I want him to know that he can come to me and I can take care, quote unquote, take care of him.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to have that, that feel like have that feeling of like, self-sufficiency, I would say, like where you're like, you know what, like it's good to have the extra income. It's good to have this. It's good to have that. But I know if I need to, I can be self-sufficient. Yeah.
I know if I need to like fall back on my education, that I have it there.
Yeah.
It's my just in case. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like people have like savings and people have like all these. My thing is just in case I have my education. Mm-hmm. It's there if I need it.
Yeah.
And so but now I need experience along with my education. So I'm like, okay, I need to get experience. Whatever it is that I'm moving into, I need experience. And so
But I think
that's
it's
what I'm
funny
working
that
on.
you said you were trying to like get into marketing communications, and we like that's a lot of what we end up doing anyway. So it's like
It is funny that we end up doing a lot of that. But when we first started talking, that was one of the things that was the commonality between us.
yeah. So it's like you kind of like in a roundabout way ended up doing it.
Well, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like and that's what I say. Like I guess like like a college is not always the answer for everybody. Like
No,
sometimes
it's not.
Sometimes sometimes you don't sometimes you don't go. Like you don't have to go. Sometimes you were able to do other things besides that.
And I had this conversation with a friend, and I get that. I definitely get that. And I had a conversation also with a guest.
Oh yeah.
On If Not You, Then Who?
Yeah.
Check it out, please. I had a conversation, and I will continue saying this. If you don't want to go to school, that's okay. It should be that option, though. That should be your option.
Yeah, I mean, you should have.
It shouldn't be like, oh, I don't have to go to school.
Yeah.
Well, is it because you can't go to school, or is it because you don't want to go to school? There's a big difference. If you want to, and you declined, that was your option. Not that it was removed from you as an option.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, I want to keep saying this. Yes, I think doing whatever it is that you want to work with your hands. Abso-fucking-lutely. You want to, I don't know. Whatever it is. Everything you do should be presented to you as an option. And education especially should be an option, especially higher education. So I'll get off my high horse, I'll get off my soapbox, but I'll just simply say 2 years of college education should be for free. There, I said it. I said it. At least 2 years of college education should be for free.
Sure. I mean, it'd be nice if the whole thing was free. Like,
yes, I know, but that's from here to there. It's a long look. All I'm saying is we should start somewhere. 2 years of education should be for free.
Well, I mean, I didn't have any student debt when I left school, but like I can't, like I hear of people all the time that are still paying off their debt, and like.
Well, how much did we pay for my class? Juan, think about it.
Yeah,
and this is how much people are paying out of pocket for this when they don't get financial aid.
Yeah, and like compared to what I paid for my classes way back then, like it was like a lot less what we paid now. What you pay now is a lot less than what I paid back then, because back then it was like in the 90s, like in the early 2000s. So it was like, you look at the prices of what I paid and you're like, whoa, that's like nothing. But back then it was something. It was still something, but it wasn't as much as it is now.
But it didn't hit your pocket deep like that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as much as it is now. Like now it's like crazy. And it's only going up.
Think about how much I paid for that stupid class. And that's that. I didn't even buy the fucking book.
Yeah.
So anyway. So what else are milestones? I'm sorry. We kicked off completely left field from a bunch of things happening this week, and all we talked about is one.
Well, no, that was the main thing. Like that was the main thing, was just getting ready for graduation. Because you know how you start doing all the end of year stuff. So it's like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, blah 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 blah. Like you go through all this list of things that like seniors have to do, and then you have to get them ready for that. So it's like, oh, you have to.
Yeah, now we're gearing him up for his college.
Yeah, like you need. You need shoes. Oh, you need this. Oh, you need that. Or and it's like you end up running around crazy that week because you're trying to get everything ready. So that was the main thing. But I mean, it was good. And I'm happy.
We're gonna have an interesting summer.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Why do you say we're gonna have an interesting summer?
Because we need to get him ready for school.
Oh yeah.
He's going out of state, so we need to get him ready for school, and then, that's gonna be an interesting.
I think he's ready to go. I think he's gonna be ready. He's gonna be ready, but I think it's gonna be like.
Only time's gonna tell.
It'll be different. Like I think it's what I'm now. It's starting to realize is it is going to be a little different to not have him around all the time. So it's going to be oh, okay, he's not going to be there, or you're not going to call him and hey, what time are you getting home?
Yeah,
it's going to be oh, he's in a whole other state. He's not even
here.
So that'll be different. I think that's going to take some getting used to, but we'll get there.
So that's what's coming up for us. But anybody else graduate this year? Anybody else going back to school? Anybody else doing something else out there? What else are you doing out there? Did you get graduated? Did they go to college?
Graduates, congratulations.
I know. Did they go to college? And if you have tips, you know what? If you got tips for us, for a kid who went out of state or who went out of the city to go to school, give us all the tips. We want to know, what should we expect?
Well, this is the first time that we're ever dealing with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we didn't go out of state, and we
No.
didn't like. So it's like, oh, what do you like? You know, I guess you don't realize like all those things. Like I guess like, do you need like to buy them like bed sheets and like crap like that, or like, you know, I guess there's a lot of crap.
For me, I'm more anticipating the expectations of like them being away, and also what can I anticipate? I don't know. This is on you to us.
What can you expect?
Yeah. Like, okay, so if you friends out there, like, if you could tell your friends who went away to, or if you went away to college and you wish your parents knew, what was it? Just what was it? Yeah. Hello. We're going to be empty nesters pretty soon also. So we're probably going to need all the emotional support out there from our friends on the internet too. But yeah, we're excited. We're anticipating all this new thing that's happening. Edgar's going to school. I'm finishing my degree. And yeah.
I think the next couple of years will be interesting. So we'll see. I think I'm excited about what'll come up.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
that's it. There you have it. That's our big news. That's our what we've been up to for the last couple of weeks. And if you have any advice for these new empty nesters, or if you have any advice for your newly graduated,
I was gonna say for the graduates themselves.
Yeah. If you have any advice for the new graduates out there, whether it's college or high school, let them know. Put it in the comment section.
And I think the one thing that we didn't talk about that's also important, if you do have resources, and it is like the financial piece. So like if you know about scholarships, if you know about how to help people get to scholarships, or how to help people navigate financial aid and this and that, you know, if there are resources out there that you want to share, definitely share them, because I think, you know, it was a learning process for us too, and I don't think that we're very well versed on it. So,
no, we're not.
So I think, you know, not only for us, but for other people that, you know, are maybe even more confused than we are, and we're pretty confused. So
and we're very confused.
So like, maybe for those folks, help them out, let them know, you know, what those things are, and you know, what resources are out there for everybody, because there really are a lot of resources out there.
Yeah, there are.
So before we close out, I do want to talk about a specific sponsor, a new sponsor that we're working with, and I'm talking about Prevent Cancer. It's an organization that's focused on reminding us that, you know, while we're still in the pandemic, but we're kind of hopefully at the end of the pandemic, a lot of us last year put off our appointments. We put off, you know,
going to the doctor,
getting our cancer screenings, getting other regular checkups taken care of that we weren't able to take care of. So now, you know, they're reminding us that it's a good time now to go in and start making those appointments and to get those checks up.
Correct. As things start opening back up, it's just not all that great to go, you know, back to eat and stuff like that. But also a reminder, also as places are opening up, to get in to see your doctor.
Yeah, and I actually need to make my appointments for my doctor again. But I'm going to read you a few things that they sent. I mean, so they said in December of 2020, a survey found that more than half of American adults who had an in-person appointment scheduled have missed, postponed, and or canceled routine medical appointments because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So, like, you know, I think a lot of us can probably relate to that, because a lot of people were doing virtual. Like, so, and sometimes I felt like in virtual, it was good, but like it wasn't as good as being in person.
Yeah, I did 2 appointments in virtual, and it was definitely very different than seeing my doctor
and
in person.
So it's saying, if we don't act now, medical experts estimate that we will face a future cancer crisis resulting from last stage cancer diagnosis. I mean, it's pretty critical, because I mean, that is something that if you don't take care of it, if you're not aware of it early, like, it can definitely backfire.
You can prevent.
Yeah. And so Back on the Books is the campaign that they're working on from the Prevent Cancer Foundation, and they're encouraging people to get their routine cancer screenings back on the books. And if you know anybody who also should consider getting their doctor's appointments, they're asking us to help spread the word by encouraging people to get their cancer screening appointments scheduled, and to use the hashtag Back on the Books.
So Back on the Books, I guess, basically means is get your ass back on the appointment list, back in the book, so that you can get your you get your booty back in there to your doctor, so you can do your cancer screenings.
Yep. And like I said, use the hashtag Back on the Books, because that's what they're using on social media to create more awareness. So it's a campaign that they're using to create awareness. There's a website you can go to, which is preventcancer.org/Back on the Books. That gives you all the information. So yeah, thanks again to our sponsors at the Prevent Cancer Foundation. And like I said, they do have a website you can go and visit, and it's preventcancer.org/back on the books. And that's the same hashtag that you can use, back on the books. So thank you for listening to this episode. And for if you want to leave us a rating or a review, then you can always do that on Apple Podcasts. And that helps us to find new listeners, or for our new listeners to find us, really. And you can always find all our content at juanofwords.com, as well as the links on all our social media accounts.
Yeah, and leave us a rating or leave us a conversation. Give us some feedback on Facebook also, if you're watching this.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're closing.
And with that,
We'll see you later.
bye.
Bye.